Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. This is week 2 on the Daily Sports Rant. But I'm hoping that we are on now, possibly.
Second week in a row of technical difficulties here.
We got a good show still. I'm Tim Paragone, my partner over here.
I'm Matthew Stapleton. Welcome to the second week of Daily Sports Rant on Charger Radio.
And we got a show. We just, what do? We played the Super Bowl.
Got the Super Bowl review on our script today.
Indeed.
And what a great show it was. Personally, I enjoyed it.
It was a great game. You have to love the game. Even if just an NFL fan in general, you have to love the game.
I think no matter what the outcome was, it was just a great game in general. Personally, it was bittersweet. It was excellent because I am a Giants fan personally. I know you are, so it made it all the better and everything. But no matter what the outcome, that game was just terrific.
It was great, the whole game. No team really blew anybody out. It was a pretty clean game through and through.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great to see the Giants come out on top, being a Giants fan, of course. But it was a good game for the NFL, I think.
And I'd have to say, last week you picked the Patriots, so
I did pick the Patriots.
As of right now, I'm up 1-0 on you in our head-to-head.
I gotta make a little comeback.
We'll see throughout the season how that turns.
Exactly. But I think the Super Bowl actually got highest rating ever.
It did. It drew what was it, 111
a little over
million?
111, yeah. A little over last year, and I think it's gone over the last 3 years, which is impressive.
Yeah, it went up, I believe, from 107 last year and 104 the year before.
Yeah, so
we talk about it in our classes here at UNH.
At UNH, exactly.
So we're just recapping the Giants' 21-17 victory over the New England Patriots on Sunday.
Yep. The Giants dominated time of possession.
They did, and you know what? We'll talk more about that. I have a little something to say about the time of possession, but the Giants just the time of possession battle was all them, and the field position battle.
Exactly. Which was definitely key to keep Brady off the field.
It was definitely key.
Key.
And I'd say if they didn't win that field position battle, that game isn't theirs. Because it all started with field position, and it ended with it. It started right out of the bat with that safety.
Yeah.
If Weatherford doesn't punt that ball in the 5-yard line,
that's huge.
Brady could make a run down the field.
Exactly. And he was key the whole game, Weatherford. He was. What, four punts inside 20?
He had a Super Bowl record of 3 punts within the 10-yard line.
Within the 10, yeah. And that one he could have had. The one that took the bounce right next to, I forget who that was down there.
Someone tried to stop it.
Exactly, yeah.
One of their special teams guys, I don't know the name. But
it took a little bounce away from him, but that could have been another one.
It could have been another.
He was clutch throughout the entire season, too. I mean, he was overlooked big time.
If I was going to go with things I learned from the Super Bowl, special teams.
Special teams.
This year alone.
Oh, yeah. It's like they won them the game against.
It did. And if you'd have to... You have to put the argument there that Matt Dodge last year single-handedly lost 2 to 3 games for them.
Matt Dodge killed the Giants a little bit last year, definitely.
So you'd have to say that Steve Weatherford was a huge upgrade for us this year.
Oh, yeah. And just listening to Coughlin talk about him at the parade yesterday, and just he seems like, for a punter, he didn't really fade in the background. He was a team guy.
Exactly.
He's getting everybody going, which is good to see.
He was emotional, and every time they won, I saw him on TV running around.
He's not the usual punter out there.
No, and it was a bittersweet moment for him because he's been to the AFC title game twice with the Jets before this.
Yeah.
He never got there.
Yeah.
So first year with the Giants, he gets there. It's because of his leg that they really get there. I'd have to say he had a great punting year for them. Their coverage did get better. They didn't have great coverage last year.
No.
They still don't have a all-star or hit-and-run kind of return man, but that's just not the Giants. I haven't seen that.
I don't believe they lost any games because of it.
No, they didn't. Exactly. And it's just because they have Eli Manning there, and he can orchestrate a drive basically from anywhere. And
as we saw, as we've seen all season,
as we saw on Sunday and all season long, and he really, I don't know if he deserved the MVP trophy there, but. No, if you had to give it to somebody,
but he definitely had a good game. Though you can't take.
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't have a pick.
No, he.
What was he? 30 of 40.
40, I believe.
Yeah.
296.
has a 75 completion percentage, and that's phenomenal for a quarterback.
Exactly, and the drive at the end, that pass to Manningham.
Oh, that was beautiful.
First down was insane.
It just brought back memories of that David Tyree catch.
It did. With Tyree standing on the sidelines. But yeah, it was good.
It was, and I guess other things I learned is that New England I would have to say New England outdueled the Giants statistically wise, not time of possession.
Yes, but pretty much everything else.
Basically everything else is just the Giants.
For as amount of time they had, they made the most of it. I mean,
but
Brady completed 16 passes in a row at one point. It was.
I believe that's a record, right?
Yeah,
that as
so.
well. So, right, the Patriots outplayed the Giants, but the Giants were the better team on Sunday.
Exactly.
From what I learned from the Super Bowl, New England just massively overachieved this year. They had a 13-3 record, and then they go into the playoffs with a bye, and they beat the Broncos, and no one really thought the Broncos were gonna. And Brady throws 6 touchdowns and 1 interception, and it looks like they're going to make a run.
Exactly.
And then they play the Ravens, and Brady throws 2 picks, no touchdowns.
Shouldn't even have won that game.
If it wasn't for Billy Cundiff missing that field goal. You could make an argument that, it goes to overtime, and maybe the Patriots don't.
Exactly. I mean, you never know.
And then we don't know the outcome of the Giants-Ravens, but.
Exactly.
So I would have to say New England just massively overachieved this year.
Definitely.
As a team during the Super Bowl, they had no elite cornerbacks, no shutdown cornerbacks. We'll put that in the same category. They have no deep threat in a wide receiver. Absolutely no deep threat. They have no pass rushers, 31st ranked defense, and 18 undrafted players were starting.
Yeah.
Or not starting, were on the team.
Insane, yeah. I mean, it was definitely a very un-Patriot-like team from especially the old teams of defense pretty much winning championships back with the old dynasty.
It was all Bill Belichick.
It was all Bill Belichick. Now he's got, more of a high-flying offense type deal.
Yeah, he's
threats, but
I would say he's become more of an offensive mastermind now.
Definitely.
His defense has been, lacking. It's been lackluster past couple of years. So.
And they were tough on D back when.
They were.
They were very, very tough.
And they had Bruschi and Seymour.
And everybody. They were all
a ton of people. But this team that I saw, they overachieved this year. And 13-3 is nice. They got to the Super Bowl. Yeah. Hooray, good for you. But, what happens next year? Of course, some of the teams that underachieve, some teams are going to underachieve every year.
Yeah.
We can name them off: the Jets, Cowboys, the Eagles, Chargers. Basically, any team Norv Turner coaches underachieves.
Or Norv Turner.
But and there'll be teams that overachieve, and I believe the Patriots overachieved.
Yeah.
The Bengals, a rookie quarterback, rookie wide receiver, 49ers, Broncos, to name a few.
49ers came out of nowhere.
They did, and they were pretty good.
They were good. Again, defense with them.
Yeah, they had a stout defense this year.
Very good defense.
It started with, Willis, Navarro Bowman, who no one's really heard of. It's his second year, and he really took over and solidified that.
Carlos Rogers comes over.
Rogers came over. They had Dante Whitner and Aldon Smith, who was phenomenal, a rookie pass rusher. But I'd have to say the New England Patriots in a passing league that's just started, because this is the decade of passing. Oh, absolutely. And I'd have to say they just don't have shutdown corner, don't have deep threat in the passing league. And what are you going to do with that?
Yeah, you can't really do too much. I mean, they have, the Wes Welkers, the Gronkowskis and everything, but do you really, look for them as the big guy that's going to get you, that down threat field that's going, you can go up and get it, count on them, all the time? Probably not. They're good for the, the slant routes, those kind of, they'll rack up yards that way, but.
And if you have a good tackling team like the Giants,
exactly,
like the Steelers, like the Ravens, and you have no deep threat, you're not going to go over the top, and you're going to just do your little checkdowns, and you're not going to go anywhere.
Exactly.
And that's what happened.
Yep.
They basically all season, when I went back and reviewed it, they just couldn't get elite quarterbacks off the field because of their defense.
Exactly.
And like we said before, the time possession battle was ridiculous.
37-23 Giants.
They only played 2 elite quarterbacks this year. They had such a soft schedule.
Yeah, I think we talked about that last week a little bit.
They played Ben Roethlisberger once, and Eli Manning twice. That's it. That's the only elite cornerbacks they face. And they lost Eli twice. They lost to Ben Roethlisberger. They couldn't keep them off the field.
That's a good point. They definitely. I didn't realize that, but yeah, the quarterbacks. I mean,
when you don't have a defense.
Yeah, if you want to win a Super Bowl, you got to beat the big quarterbacks.
Basically, when you don't have a defense that rushes the passer, it gives them enormous amount of time. And then when you don't have any elite shutdown corners, safeties.
Yeah. An average quarterback can do all right against that defense. I think.
Everyone but Tim Tebow clearly can do anything against that defense. They made Joe Flacco look good. And all respect to him.
Flacco's got an arm, but he's not one of the elites.
I don't think he's an elite quarterback.
No,
he's just average. And yet he almost won that game for them single-handedly.
Mm-hmm.
And the Giants killed the time possession. Patriots had a very easy schedule this year. They have another easy schedule. The schedules got released.
I didn't see that.
They didn't get dates and times, but we know the teams who. Yeah.
Gotcha.
They have another easy one. Obviously, within their own division, it's always going to be easy.
It's always going to be a little.
Just this team is not built well to do against elite quarterbacks. No pass rush, like I said. No cornerbacks. No deep threat, and it starts with the draft. And I don't know how much of a say Bill Belichick has in that drafting war room, we'll say.
Yeah.
He's got to have something.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to say to the GM, hey, we need this.
Yeah. Do you think the Patriots can, continue to keep being the Patriots and compete for Super Bowls in years to come?
No. Just they don't have the defense. Brady's 34. He'll be 35. You could basically say this team's on the map because of Brady.
Definitely.
They won 3 Super Bowls because of Brady. They've been to 5 because of Brady.
Even then, he won it. I mean, obviously Brady did it, but they won it with kicks back then too.
Right.
He didn't drive down the field and score for them.
Mm-hmm.
He got him obviously within field goal, but Vinatieri was the man.
Yeah, and everyone was talking about that on the TV. How Gostkowski could have been the one and they were just winning it by little margins.
Yeah.
They never won a Super Bowl before that in the 40, 50-year existence of the New England Patriots, and before it was the Boston Patriots and everything else. But
Indeed.
In the Super Bowl era, they are now 3-3 in the title game.
Yeah. 2 losses to the Giants.
Two to the Giants.
Eli Manning.
3 wins for Brady. 2 losses for him. He's been to 5, and there's no question he's a great quarterback.
Clearly.
I don't think this affects his trajectory for the Hall of Fame.
No, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, 3 Super Bowl. He's the best. I mean,
he'll be in Canton one day, but it's just I don't think they're built. It starts
years
with
to come, definitely not.
No, and
especially not like the Giants are.
They need to start drafting well.
Yeah.
I went back. I looked at the draft last year. This is just interesting. They selected 2 running backs. They're not a running team.
No.
They have been Jarvis Green Ellis.
Yeah.
Just do what you gotta do with him. He doesn't fumble the ball.
He doesn't fumble, which is impressive.
That is impressive. 600, basically 600 carries without fumble.
Crazy.
I knew that stat before the Super Bowl, but then I realized it was 600 carries, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So I mean, Bradshaw fumbles it basically every game.
Every single game.
I mean, he did it. I think he did in the Super Bowl.
He did. That was another thing that could have killed him.
There was
a couple fumbles they had. They go, the Patriots, and who knows what that game turns out like.
Exactly. So they drafted 2 running backs, a tight end. They drafted a tight end last year. So you have Gronkowski, Hernandez, and you draft a tight end.
That's a great decision, guys.
All right. So then they draft a linebacker, a cornerback, which is fine by me. Isa Rao Dowling. They have 2 offensive linemen drafted. Nate Solder obviously being the first one, but they have a solid offensive line. And then in the 3rd round, they take a quarterback.
I mean, it's not really, the strongest draft decisions, I think we can say.
They took a quarterback in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
I can see you taking one in the 6th.
Okay, yeah.
For a backup, but you take a 3rd round quarterback, Ryan Mallett, who's, could have a future somewhere. Yeah. I get it. They take him because he's probably the best on the board.
But Brady's not really going anywhere yet.
Right. They have 3, maybe 4 years left for Brady.
Exactly. There's no need to push that far for a quarterback.
So why do you need to draft one in the 3rd round? There are plenty of defensive linemen, cornerbacks that had good rookie years left on the board, and they just just pass right over them.
Yeah, you can definitely look back at that and question that.
They definitely can. So they take a quarterback when they have Tom Brady. They don't take a wide receiver at all. They go out and they get Chad Ochocinco, and they think that's going to solve their problems.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to turn him around.
He had a very mediocre human-like year based on his years in.
I mean, you could say maybe the whole Randy Moss thing. That's what they had in mind, but I think Randy Moss is in a little better stage of his career than Ochocinco.
Yeah, I'd have to say that. When they let Randy Moss go when he was unhappy, it hurt them.
Definitely. He brought a whole nother dimension to their team.
He was their deep threat.
Because they never had when they won.
Right.
When they won, they never had that big guy, and then he came in and changed the whole thing.
Right, and they set records together. So
yeah,
I mean, we could see what Brady can do if they have a deep threat. And I like Gronkowski, I like Hernandez, but it's just not going to cut it.
Oh yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
That's well put.
Yeah. So they go with Ochocinco. They don't take any defensive linemen. They throw away Richard Seymour 2 years ago. I get it. You get a first-round pick with it. That's nice.
That's
but
not bad, but you got to do something with that.
Exactly. You have to replace him with someone. You can't just
willy-nilly just go out there.
Obviously, when Vince Wilfork is
he's a beast. He's huge.
He's enormous.
He's ginormous.
But you don't have any pass rushers. He's not a You can't expect a 350-pound man to rush the passer. So there are plenty of options available in the draft, and they didn't take anything. So I congratulate the Patriots, 13-3. I believe they massively overachieved.
Definitely.
They had a great year, but they lost to a great team as well.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, they were, with the Giants, they can definitely compete in years to come.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at their core group of players is all young and, for the most part, under contract for, a few more years. And I know Manningham is up this year, I believe.
I'm a little worried about that.
Yeah.
I'd have to say.
Somebody gives him the money.
He will leave for the money.
Exactly.
Because he had, I believe it was 32 receptions this year.
Around there, yeah.
Compared to Cruz's 82, and Hakeem Nicks had upwards of 80 to 90, there, maybe even 100. But
so you look at that and you say, somebody might go out there because he's obviously, a good receiver as well.
I'd have to say he's the best third string wide receiver.
Definitely. I mean, we saw that in the Super Bowl,
Yeah, he is. He's quick. He runs his routes nicely.
He's very good route.
There are some things I don't like about him. He doesn't full out catch the ball all the time. Yeah. He doesn't put himself out there. I mean, in the Super Bowl, everyone can say, yes, he did, but there were games this year, especially in the 49ers game early in the year, the first one, where Eli threw a pass to him. He just kind of stopped and didn't dive for it, didn't try to get it. And we've seen a lot of plays like that.
Definitely. But then there's also, there's games where he completely stepped up and was the guy.
Oh, yeah, and he won them some games.
Exactly, because, if they shut down one of the guys, the big guys, he sneaks in, has a big game.
And that's what he likes.
Exactly.
And he likes it. I believe he likes it in New York. If they're not willing to pay him, first team comes to mind is the Bears. They need a wide receiver, someone like him.
I mean, he's a young guy. He's 25.
He's 25. Jay Cutler could definitely use someone to throw to. There's no one on that team.
Cutler's a good quarterback, I think.
He is, and they definitely, their season was done after he got hurt, and I believe they're 7-4.
Yeah.
But I could see him going somewhere else, and it doesn't worry. It scares me a little, just because I know if you take away Hakeem Nicks and Cruz, because Cruz had a big year, and I don't think we can expect another great year.
He had a huge year. People know about him now. I mean, you saw it even in the playoffs, and towards the end of the year, people started to make him their main priority and kind of shut him down a little bit. I mean, Knicks, was huge in the playoffs. Huge, which is good to see, but, you always like that third guy. It
was funny because when Knicks didn't show up, it was Cruz who showed up. Well, not showed up, excuse me. It was when they were covered.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Knicks definitely had the better game during the Falcons and the Packers, but Cruz stepped up during the 49ers game. And then, it really wasn't anyone in the Patriots game. Hakeem Nicks had 10 catches for 100 yards. We could say it's that. Cruz had the touchdown, and Manningham had the big catch at the end of the game.
Yeah, and came up down the stretch.
In the last drive, he had 3 receptions for 50 to 70 yards, something in that range.
So he snuck in there and had himself a little game.
Right, and because they weren't focused on him.
Exactly.
They were looking at Cruz.
Which is what he likes, though.
Exactly. So to have him on a team, I wouldn't say that's their number one priority, but it'd be nice to have him back.
It'd be huge.
They have Hickson coming back, but this is his second year getting hurt. I don't know how much we can rely on that.
Exactly.
You can go and draft someone and hope they turn out to be a Mario Manningham, Steve Smith type of slot receiver.
Gotta trust the drafting a little bit.
You do. The draft is it, and Jerry Reese is. I would have to say he's a genius.
Yeah. We touched on that last time.
And this year everyone kind of tore him apart. They didn't get the linebacker. They didn't get the offensive lineman or the running back, and that everyone said that they needed. But they went out and they got some team players.
Exactly. They got the right pieces to fit in, and obviously it turned out into a Super Bowl victory. Right.
And as he put it, they didn't get any sexy moves because the Giants didn't get Nnamdi Asomugha or any of the big key
guys that were out
the big
there.
guys. They got David Boss.
Going out and getting everybody.
Right. The Eagles went out and got anyone. They go 8-8.
Exactly.
So the Giants get David Boss. They definitely need the center, and they go and they get the punter Steve Weatherford. And for me, that was
huge.
That was
huge.
Enormous, and that really made their season.
Yeah, and he had to come in and action. I mean, he beat out Dodge, which
right.
Dodge is a young punter. He's got a good leg. He could have turned it around.
Exactly. I liked him. Let's just say last year I didn't like him.
No, obviously, but you could see a little bit in there. He's got a big leg. If he can, kind of get everything under control, become a little better of a punter than just a
absolutely. There was no doubt about his leg.
Yeah, the leg
his
and a half.
Accuracy was something to question.
Yeah.
He would kick it right to people.
The line drives. I mean, they were deep line drives, but they're right to people. So the guys would have 30 yards to run.
Right.
Before they saw anybody.
I would say he didn't. When I said before that he lost 2 to 3 games, it's not that he punted to someone and the game went over like the Sean Jackson punt return for the Eagles, but it's all about field position.
Exactly.
And, Giants won Super Bowl because of field position. Giants lost some game because of field position. I remember Matt Dodge having some 20-yard punts, 15-yard punts, and he just
was getting into
he was. And I don't blame him for that Eagles loss because I believe the Giants were up by 28.
No, that was not his. That was just he took blame undeservingly because
they needed a scapegoat.
Exactly. They needed somebody to blame individually, and he was there because he just last played the game. But the Giants completely blew that game.
It was awful. They gave 28 straight points. The offense couldn't keep the ball.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Why they were throwing when they had such a huge lead. We won't even go through it, but I can't blame Dodge for that.
No.
I just blame him for time of possession or field position.
Yeah, definitely. But who else we got? We got Ross and Terrell Thomas are also free agents.
I didn't know Ross was.
Ross was a
I can't see Terrell Thomas going anywhere.
No.
He was out the entire year, so that means he's not going to get a lot of money.
Exactly.
Which means he's going to want to stay with his team. If you look at it this way, I believe that the Giants are built for not
years to come.
Years to come.
Eli's
maybe multiple Super Bowls.
You have to say, their division is also tough. You have to keep in mind the Cowboys, if they can put together their talent and actually have a good year, which they should and could have. They have
Absolutely.
The talent. Same thing with the Eagles. The Redskins are a couple pieces away from being a pretty good team.
I said last week the Redskins are the best 5-11 team I've ever seen.
Definitely. So
if they get a quarterback, they are.
Watch out! That division is action packed.
It is, and just like 4 years ago in 2007, it was the NFC Beast. It was called.
Exactly. Yeah.
3 teams made it every single year to the playoffs, and we could be in another one of those situations.
And the NFC in general, I think, is on the upswing. Usually, it's the
they
AFC, but you got the Packers,
it's coming back.
Saints.
It's what was it? The Saints, Packers, Giants have won the last 3.
Yeah.
All quarterbacks were MVPs of the game.
Yeah.
And it was an AFC-driven league with Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. But I do believe the NFC is on the rise.
NFC is on the rise, guys. Watch out.
You can easily name 10 teams, maybe even more, that could easily go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Or not the Super Bowl, excuse me, the playoffs. But
playoffs. mean, and then you got the big guys. I think the Eli's, the Rodgers, Breeze, and then you got the 49ers are obviously looking like they're a team that can compete.
And they can compete because of their defense and running game.
Yeah.
They don't really need that star quarterback, but let's just say they get a star quarterback. Let's say they get Peyton Manning. Watch out.
Exactly.
Let's say one of those subpar teams like the Cardinals or Seattle
they
get a quarterback.
Watch
out. Seattle and Arizona had a great defense this year.
Exactly.
So you're talking about 3 teams from the NFC East. I don't see the Redskins going anywhere next year. Maybe in a couple years.
They could be better, and just add, a tougher aspect to the Giants division.
They'd have to go out and they'd have to get the quarterback of their future immediately.
Exactly, yeah.
I believe that Colts will take Andrew Luck, and then at number 2, there's going to be a battle for RG3.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about Robert Griffin III.
Who is a very exciting player,
He is. He could be the next Cam Newton. In my mind, I like him a little more than Andrew Luck, personally.
I'm a Luck guy, to be honest.
You're a Luck guy?
Yeah, I'm a Luck guy. He's traditional, I guess.
I like him too. I think he is NFL ready. I saw a little bit this year at Stanford how he just couldn't get it done. I'm not sure if it's just because he didn't have the talent, and Stanford didn't have the talent.
Yeah. But I find it hard to believe. I mean, the guy. People talk about him like he's the next whoever.
Next Manning or Elway or someone.
So.
But I believe there'll be a battle for Robert Griffin in the number 2, and that could go to anyone. It can go. Yeah, the Rams have the number 2 pick. They don't need the quarterback.
Yeah, the Rams. Bradford. He had a good year. Not last year, but they won some games. So they could possibly do a little something.
Weren't they 8-8, 9-7?
They're right on
his first year there.
Yeah, right, about to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and Seattle beat them
last game or something.
But they're set at quarterback, so they can easily trade their pick to the Browns, to the Redskins, to whoever, at least in the top 10, and then solidify themselves with another pick for next year.
Yeah.
So that's good news for them.
Exactly.
But we'd say, like we're saying, we have the Giants, Cowboys, Eagles. In the NFC, we have the Saints. I'd say the Panthers are on the rise.
And the Falcons are still there too.
And the Falcons,
Matty Ice.
Yeah, they got
to win a playoff game maybe, but
Matty Ice does. I think as long as they have Gonzalez on that team, I don't know if they're going to win a playoff game. He hasn't won a single playoff game in his 12-year career.
Point, yeah.
As great as he is, he might be that curse.
He's the anti-playoff win guy, can we call him?
But so you got the Saints, the Falcons, the 3 from the East. You have the Lions, the Bears, the Packers.
NFC is looking pretty good.
They are
looking pretty good.
And Stafford won the Comeback Player of the Year award this year.
He had a big year, obviously.
5,000 yards.
Anyway, it throws to Calvin Johnson. Can have a good year.
I'd have to say the same, but what Calvin Johnson have, like 1,400 yards?
He was ridiculous. Bottom
line is Stafford made the other receivers good as well.
I'm not taking anything away from Stafford, but it's nice to throw to Calvin Johnson.
It is always nice to throw to that big man, 6'5" guy.
Huge.
So, also I'd have to say from this season, I would have gave Peyton Manning the MVP trophy this year because
I think you can make a case for Peyton as MVP.
I think he proved to us what it's like to not have him on the field.
They were a disaster without him. A disaster.
Oh, it was just terrible to watch, and especially that Colts Saints game when it was 65-0. It was
embarrassing.
It was embarrassing.
While we're on the topic of Peyton, we might as well talk about Eli. Eli versus Peyton.
Might as well talk about
got the 2.
What everyone else is talking about.
Exactly. So, obviously Peyton's, regular season stats are second to none, pretty much, especially recently. In our generation, he's third behind like Marino and Favre and basically everything, and he's pretty close to them. Depending on if he comes back, he can overtake some of those. And
absolutely,
he does. He's only got the 1 Super Bowl, which is definitely disappointing for a guy with 4 MVPs and stuff like that. And I don't know, it's tough. But Eli's got 2 Super Bowl MVPs. One of 5 guys, and Bart Starr, Bradshaw, Brady, and Montana. That's not a bad class to be in.
Not at all.
If you're Eli Manning.
And like we said last week, the debate begins. Let's just put it that way.
Exactly.
I don't think Eli could touch Peyton records, stats,
not.
or records or anything. And I'd love to see Peyton come back. I'd love to see him break the records.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't like Brett Favre being on the top of the touchdown list. Personally, just the all drama that he did, and he did play a lot longer than most quarterbacks, and that's why he's up there.
He threw picks like it was his
job. He threw the most touchdowns and the most picks, so I would not put him on my top of the list. But
no, I mean I like Brett Favre, but I'd definitely like to see Peyton take.
I would too, and so I'd love to see Peyton come back, and therefore Eli can't touch his records. But Eli is 31. He's on the right side of 30.
Exactly.
Let's put it that way. He's just coming into his own.
Just now.
Just starting to be that guy.
Exactly.
Past 3 years, he's finally eclipsed 4,000 yards.
Came close to 5,000 this year.
He was 77 yards away from 5,000 this year.
Yeah.
I believe his touchdowns were 84 to 57 interceptions over the past 3 years. I can't be correct on that stats, but it was very close.
Yeah, it was close to that. You'd like to see him cut down his interceptions a little bit. He did this year, but let's keep taking strides in that department.
You just got to put it this way: he's a risk taker.
He is,
and he likes to throw the deep ball.
Yeah,
and 9 times out of 10, the deep ball's gonna either hit your receiver or hit the ground, but sometimes it gets picked.
Exactly.
And you just like what Eli does. He just shakes it off and goes right back out there.
It's not fazed by anything.
So, that's what's so great about Eli is he's so calm, cool, and collected.
In New York, which is
especially in New York, not a lot of people can.
No, and he's taken a beating ever since he came.
He has,
onto the scene.
Especially last year. Everyone was talking about getting rid of him. I didn't enjoy the 25 interceptions, but I also didn't blame him for about 10 of them.
Oh, last year was ridiculous.
His receivers were bouncing the balls around. But if we're talking about the debate, I'd have to say I'd give a little edge to Eli at this point.
If you're gonna
if you had to take one quarterback, which one would you take?
I'm gonna take Eli. I mean, 2 Super Bowls for me. I want to win, and as much as obviously Peyton wins in the regular season is 141 and 67 in the regular season is pretty ridiculous.
It's absurd.
But to do that and only come away with 1 Super Bowl is a little.
And a 9-10 record in the playoffs.
Exactly.
That means he's been to at least 10 playoffs because he's lost.
Yeah.
But
he did go against Brady and then when they were winning all that, which is.
And Belichick has his number.
Exactly.
And the Giants have Belichick's number right now.
Eli.
Yeah. Peyton had to overcome the Patriots the year they won the Super Bowl, and they never really beat them in the playoffs before that. But his 9-10 playoff record just doesn't look as good as Eli's 8-3 record. Eli has 5 road playoff wins,
which is
the most in NFL history,
which is very impressive. But then Eli's never won a playoff game outside of the Super Bowl years, which is interesting. I think
he never did what?
Never won a playoff game outside of the Super Bowl years. Like he's never He's all his playoff wins are
just Super Bowl,
just the Super Bowl runs.
That's interesting.
Which is, he's still got 2 Super Bowls, which is ridiculous. 2 Super Bowl MVPs, but he's never won outside.
So we'll see in years to come how that goes. Obviously, because he's 31, he still has at least six years.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe 7.
Like we talked about the young team, they could definitely compete.
Right.
Unlike the other team, which was getting older, and that was kind of there.
As of right now, if he ended his career, he's got 2 Super Bowls, which is in a club of now 11 men.
Yeah.
He's got
all
2.
Of which, besides one of them, made the Hall of Fame.
Right. That being Jim Plunkett. And, Tom Brady and Roethlisberger as of right now. He's got 2 Super Bowl MVPs, like you said, the list of 5.
Which is a very impressive list.
Every single person, right? Every single person, except for Brady and Manning, have made the Hall of Fame from that list.
And they're some of the greats, not just very good. They're the legendary figures.
So if Manning ended his career right now, would he be better than Peyton? Would he be in the Hall of Fame? I'd say maybe.
I'd say you got to give it to him. Especially, I mean, we'll see what he can do, obviously, if he completely falls off the face of the earth, which I really don't see happening.
I doubt that.
Exactly. But, he keeps going. He puts together, a solid career from here on out. Even if he wins, a few more playoff games, even if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, I think if he just needs to win, a few more playoff games. He's got 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. I think, Hall of Fame. He's on the right path.
Exactly. He's got that trajectory going for him.
Yeah.
If he happens to win another Super Bowl, which it looks like they could. It's a tough division, but they definitely could. If he happens to win it, then absolutely.
3's a lock.
If he doesn't, and he puts up statistics and continuously gets 4,000 a season, cuts down on the interceptions, gets touchdowns. There's no.
I think he's definitely on the right path towards the Hall of Fame.
He absolutely is on the right path. As of right now, if he ended right now, his career right now,
it would be a debate.
It would definitely be a debate, and you'd have to say
because you'd have to put a lot of weight on the Super Bowls.
You would, and it is all about that. I mean,
it is. For the NFL, more than any other sport, is all about championships. As for a quarterback, at least.
As for a quarterback, absolutely, because Dan Marino didn't win one, and he's. I mean, you just said he's not really part of our debate, and we're talking, Eli and Bart Starr and Brett Favre, Tom Brady, all these players, and we don't mention Marino because
Marino gets a Super Bowl or 2. He's up. He's definitely
If Marino gets 2 Super Bowls and 2 MVPs like Manning,
Marino could be the best.
Marino is the best quarterback, but
time.
We're not talking about him because he only went to 1 Super Bowl and he lost to Montana, and it was just an absolute disaster. Yeah. They got killed in that Super Bowl. Exactly. And for anyone who ever watched him, which was not me,
either.
Unfortunately, he was phenomenal for that time period.
Yeah.
They weren't. It wasn't a passing league. It was more running, and they were not big on the run. They had a terrible run team, a terrible defense, and they relied on Marino. And he did a lot.
He did a lot, definitely. He would definitely be. But again, the winning. Got to win.
You got to win.
If you want to be a great quarterback, want to be known as one of the legendary guys, you got to win.
So I give credit to Eli.
Give it to Eli.
Yeah, I would say I'd give him the upper hand on Peyton as of right now. For saying with me, I would take Eli.
Yeah.
He converts the third downs. He's a beast in the fourth quarter.
He's an animal in the fourth quarter.
So, and he's got the 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, for me, it just comes down to Super Bowls. You want to win as any team, and he's got the 2 in New York, which I think is a huge deal, and 2 Super Bowl MVPs. And he's up there.
And 2 against Brady.
And 2, which is a great point. So,
So I wanna move on to that Belichick play, or let's say the Belichick call. The Bradshaw touchdown.
All right.
Let's talk about it a little. What, in your mind, was it the right call?
I say probably not. I say, if they kicked a field goal, I'd rather have Brady go down and try to get a field goal in less time than have them, because like we said before, they don't have the deep threat guy to get down the field. They can pick up the chunks yard that they can with, Welker and those guys, kick a field goal. I think the kicker, his season long was 50, so, you get down there, let him kick the field goal, do that, blah, 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 done.
Game over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd have to say that Steve Weatherford punt and that safety comes in hand right there because Giants go up by 4 with that touchdown.
Yeah.
If the Patriots never gave them that safety, Giants go up 2, and like you said, Brady has time to go kick the field goal.
Yeah.
However, 21-17 with 50 seconds left. I don't believe they had a timeout left.
No, I don't think so. Did either, no.
So if Bradshaw doesn't go into the end zone, they're left with about 10 seconds on the clock.
That is true as well.
I don't think that's a lot because that was first down that they scored on.
Yeah.
And because Bradshaw tried to stop himself, but I think he did. He tried to stop himself.
I think he kind of knew that they were going to do that, but not to that extent where they just didn't do anything.
It was the momentum. He tried to, and I think deep down inside he wanted that Super Bowl touchdown.
He wanted the Super Bowl touchdown.
So he took it, but if he goes down and they run a second down, third down play, I don't know if there's.
You could definitely make a case that there might not have been any time left.
Right. I think what I heard the plan was to bring it down to 18 seconds.
Yeah.
And which means the Pats might have had a timeout left.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but the plan was to run it down to 18 seconds and kick a field goal,
Yeah.
which would leave about 15 after the kick return for Brady. Brady, you know.
And then the field goal, you could risk, the bad snap, the whole deal.
Exactly. So, personally, I like that they scored. I think it's great.
Yeah.
To go up by 4, because if they went up by a field goal, they only would have been up by 1.
Too.
The defense was playing great all game. I think it was a good call by Belichick just to save time for Brady, because we all know he needs some time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but you can make the case that it was done either way with the way the defense was playing and the whole deal. They didn't have. I mean, it is Brady. I was a little worried, but they dropped a couple passes too.
They did. Hernandez, Branch.
Yeah.
Both dropped passes on that last drive.
Yeah.
That were 10 to 15 yards.
Exactly. They move the ball a little bit, get a little momentum.
If they catch those balls, get up there and spike the ball.
Exactly.
Who
it just
knows
creates
what
some more
happens.
momentum for them. And, who knows what happens. I still think, the Giants had it in them to win it, but you never know.
Right. And, they've been there before. They were down in the Super Bowl 4 years ago, and Manning brought them back. They were down, and Manning brought them back again.
Yeah.
And so the defense knew what had to be done. They just had to stop him, basically, and they did.
Yeah.
And I don't know which Super Bowl in your mind had the better finish, but
it was very close, very close. I mean, it was. I think last time was a little better just because it was so unexpected that it just was more of an excitement, I guess, because they were undefeated last time, the whole deal, and Tyreek catch was ridiculous.
It was awesome.
But
I'd have to agree with you. I go with next 4 years ago. Just the way it came down to it at the end.
Yeah.
The Pats had a pretty good defense that year.
Exactly.
We'd have to say.
Going into that year, I think it was more like, all right, we're in the Super Bowl, we're Patriots, we can beat them, but, we're here. This year, I think it was more, I think we could definitely beat them. We should win. Maybe not should, but,
Could. Let's put it that way. We can win.
Exactly.
We can do it. They believed in themselves.
Yeah, they definitely believed in themselves.
They talked a lot.
Talked a little too much,
but you know what? I'd have to say I got a little worried.
They were talking way. I mean, the whole, we're already Super Bowl champs on whatever the website thing.
Yeah, that website.
I didn't like that.
Well, Dick's Sporting Goods also released that the Patriots won the championship the day before. No one really talked about that. Yeah. They did that, and Brady said that they hope they have a good outcome for their Super Bowl party. Before.
I did not know that.
So either way, I think
we're a little
teams were a little confident.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta like the confidence, but I think the talking's a little much. They were
right. Coughlin preaches just
being humble and
just showing it on the field, leaving it all out there. And the Giants did that. I don't know who talked. I know it was JPP said a couple things. The line really was the one who talked. It was
pretty much the line.
It was basically them, and I think they deserved. They could say whatever they want. They definitely the best line.
I'm not gonna tell them not to talk.
I would not want to be the one to tell them.
I'm not gonna tell them that. Exactly. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, exactly, and they did. It didn't look as good as last time around, but they got some pressure.
They definitely hit him a little bit. They had, Tuck again, 2 sacks.
Tuck with the 2 sacks.
Came up big.
I don't think JPP had one. But
no, he had the deflections.
Deflections.
Which was huge. He was. JPP can do it all.
He can. And I heard the Patriots prepared with giant fans.
Yeah.
Fan arms, waving in the air.
That's pretty sweet.
So, I mean, they tried to prepare for JPP, but clearly
can't prepare for JPP.
It didn't work out. He's just too athletic.
He is.
So should we move into some baseball
end
here?
The football season. And
unfortunately, I think we need to.
I think it's time.
Giants Super Bowl champions, 21-17.
Good for them. We'll look ahead.
Congratulations. We got draft talk and free agency coming up, but
definitely. But it's baseball time.
Giants champions in the NFL has come to a close. So
it has indeed.
We got about 10 minutes left, so
let's start the baseball.
We'll start a little baseball talk.
Great. Can't wait.
I think our little baseball fan over here.
Oh yeah.
Where do you want to start, baseball fan?
Should we? I think we start with Prince.
Start with Prince.
We'll start with Prince.
Prince Fielder deal.
Yeah, definitely.
So as everyone should know, or hopefully does know, Prince Fielder signed with the Detroit Tigers. Yes. I believe it was 8 years, $214 million. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think 9.
9 years. Okay, yes. 9 years, $214.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that deal?
I mean, they needed him. Definitely with Victor Martinez going down, you need somebody to back up Cabrera because, I mean, if he's going to be the best hitter in baseball, which I think he is, you need somebody to pitch to him so that he can hit, or else they would just walk everybody. And, he wouldn't be as productive in terms of driving in runs, that whole deal. I mean, he'd get on base, which is huge, but in terms of driving in runs and being productive in that manner, he would definitely be down. But that he definitely, with 3-4-5 with Cabrera, Fielder, and Alex Avila now is not a bad lineup. So.
Not at all. I have to agree with you. Miguel Cabrera will be the best hitter.
Miguel Cabrera's the best hitter in baseball.
You could make a debate or an argument for Braun, Pujols, but
Cabrera hits, the dude hits 340.
He is an absolute monster.
Yeah.
And you're right. They needed someone behind him. Victor Martinez goes out with the ACL.
Yeah.
So they need someone behind, or else we're going to see a lot of what Pujols had. Pujols was walked a lot in his career just because no one was behind him until they got Matt Holliday.
Yeah.
Holliday comes in, and now you can't walk Pujols because then Matt Holliday's there, and what are you going to do about it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, Cabrera has a great eye in general. He works count, draws walks anyway.
Right.
And his walk total will be through the roof if they actually decide they didn't want to pitch to him.
So now you need to pitch to Cabrera and then pitch to Fielder after him.
Exactly, because they still have protection behind him.
And before that, who comes up before him? Well, let's put it this way: Brennan Bosch, Austin Jackson, are 1 and 2.
And then you got Cabrera hitting 6 behind Avila. That's not a bad lineup.
Not a bad lineup.
Does this trade impact the defense a lot? Yes, because now you got Cabrera at third, who is not a good fielding third baseman at all.
I put on my cons list that you're paying Prince Fielder and Miguel Cabrera, two guys who are basically the same offensively and defensively, same body type. You're paying them close to $45 million annually. And for people to think they can just move Miguel Cabrera to third and hope he does well.
And he's not going to do well. I'm just going to say that right now.
For anyone who remembers, they tried that. They even tried left field for this guy. I don't know why they put him in left field.
He's even become, at first base over the last few years, an acceptable first baseman.
He has been.
Exactly.
If you're going to have to put him somewhere, it would be first base.
He's improved a lot in that department. I mean, Prince is, in terms of his value ratings over the last 3 years, he's -17 in terms of the runs for, or -18 for runs for fielding and sabermetric stuff, which is not good at all because he's costing his team 18 runs, which is what that means over the last 3 years, which is not good at all.
No.
And if you're going to put Cabrera over at third, he's going to cost it even more. So, defensively it kills you. And then plus, which I thought was a very interesting stat, last year, Prince at Miller Park at home slugged .659, on the road .476, which is a huge difference.
Huge difference. I did a little research myself in the home runs. He at Miller Park, I believe it was. Do you know how many he hit there?
I'm not sure how many he hit, but obviously, if it's slugging with .659 and .476 on the road, it has to be a ridiculous difference.
It's a huge difference.
Yeah.
I don't have his totals for Miller Park, but I have this. Comerica Park it's very neutral. Let's just put it that way. Comerica Park is where it's where the Tigers play. Park is neutral, doesn't affect statistics positively or negatively.
Yeah.
Their home runs go out, home runs don't get hit. Pitchers have good games, pitchers have bad games. Miller Park, home of the Brewers, has been a huge home run park for lefties.
Yeah.
Prince being a lefty, he took advantage of that. And I'd have to say the great thing about computers is that you can go back and look at all the home runs. And I did that for Miller Park. I went back and I basically lined up every home run compared to Comerica Park. When I went back and look, the ones that Fielder hit to center field and left center field, He hit 12 home runs to center and left field in Miller Park. None of those balls go out in Comerica Park.
No, Comerica's huge. I mean,
None.
Going off the whole stadium thing, in the Bill James Baseball Almanac for the year, he has a home run index for stadiums, and 100 being neutral, like no effect on home runs, and anything below is negatively impact, anything above is easy. So like the Yankees, the left-handed hitters just through the roof, that'll be high. But from 2009 to 2011, Comerica's left-handed home run index was 89, so it's pretty tough to hit a home run.
Pretty close to 100 then.
And but Miller Park's was 116, which is a huge difference.
Huge difference. I to be honest, I think his home runs will decline.
It definitely will.
Maybe not right away. Maybe they can fix his swing. I don't think so. He's 28. He's pretty.
No, he's pretty much.
He's pretty much where he is as his stance, his swing, his everything. 12 home runs didn't go out. 6 of them didn't even reach the warning track when I looked at it.
Yeah.
So he's got to really crush these balls in order to get them out.
Yeah.
And it's gonna take a while for Fielder to get used to this new field, this new home.
Exactly.
And I just don't think they can expect that much. He goes in and everyone's expecting, hey, Fielder's gonna hit bombs for us.
Exactly. I mean, he's a homer guy. He's he'll hit 280s, but he's not like a Miguel Cabrera 340.
Right. He's not. He's not going to get on base a lot.
I mean, his on bases, he walks a lot. I mean, he's averaged over the last 3 years 110 walks a year, which is pretty impressive. His on base over the last 3 years has been 409 and his OPS is 956 for the last 3 years. So that's definitely impressive. Well, I think the slugging will definitely go down. He can probably keep up his on base a little bit, But,
I'd have to say if no one is on base and he comes up to bat, you pitch to him.
Yeah.
If you know that his home runs are going to go down, if you know he can't hit it out of the ballpark, no one's on base and out, maybe there's someone on first and there's 2 outs, I pitch to him. He doesn't have a great average over the years.
No.
He hit 288 last year or 299 maybe. I'm not sure, but it's never eclipsed 300.
Yeah, I mean his last 3-year average has been 287.
Right.
So
and
not bad,
a couple of years before
nothing.
that, he hit in the 260s, and we can all agree that American League pitching has a little edge. Maybe not their division, but
maybe not their division, but
and he has Verlander on his team, so. But when you put it against that, and when you go out and play in the playoffs against these great American League pitchers,
it'll definitely be different. Definitely.
There's going to be a difference.
Yeah, and then I compared him to Teixeira's contract when he signed. Teixeira was 29 when he signed, year difference. Teixeira signed for 8 years and 180, so a year less and less money. And then Teixeira is definitely way better all around because he can do it. I mean, obviously,
defensively,
I think Prince is a better hitter overall, but Teixeira does it with the glove. He's an above-average base runner, which is not Prince Fielder. I mean, in terms of the value ratings, he was -17, and Teixeira was 2, which isn't great, but it's not like he hurt his team.
Right.
And obviously, Teixeira, I mean, he could still hit, but not like Prince. His fielding's there. His fielding.
So we'd have to say it's a deal we'll have to
wait and see.
Play out and wait and see. It's going to be nice because he has the DH capability of being the DH, and that's what's so great about it.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about it next time. I'd have to say we ran out of time, so we have Prince Fielder. We'll start the show with Prince Fielder.
We'll finish off with this.
Prince Fielder, Pujols debate. Talk about the Yankees and some key off-season stuff, and we'll get that back to you next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday,
Or maybe a little earlier. We just got bumped up a couple more shows. Clearly, we're doing something right.
We're doing something right over here. Yeah, we love it.
So from here at Charger Radio is the Daily Sports Rant.
I'm Tim Paragone.
I had a great time, Tim.
At Stapleton. Here we go. Farewell.
All right. We'll see you next week.